Good afternoon, everybody. This is Richard Kuhns, author of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons, chronic Lyme, and other skin parasites, along with my co-host, Robin. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Richard.
This is September 5th, 2021, our Labor Day weekend, and we are here to discuss a very important subject, and that is non-healing lesions. I would guess that probably 50% of the people who come into this program, if not more, have issues with lesions. And problem is, by the time they heal, which is a heck of a long time, 4 or 5 more have already sprung up. Robin, have you had that experience with lesions, or were you one of the few lucky ones that didn't?
I have had plenty of lesions, but they always healed. I always found through your products and other things that I found, I was able to heal them. So what I do have that still, there's some that linger are like bumps under your skin.
Right. We won't really classify them as lesions. They can be, what is it, perdial nodularis or something of that nature. Bumps are often a different thing than lesions. And well, the good news is you're at the right place. And there is no bad news, because the step number 1 is that it's impossible for these lesions not to heal once you're in this program and have started the program, and that means you start the King diet. You get that diet to kick in. Yes, Robin?
I do want to say this week, I've been doing really well, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I went on a candy binge. God, I went on a candy binge, and within hours I had lesions on my body and lesions in my mouth, on my tongue. Oh, my God. But I'll tell you, within 24 hours, they were gone.
History, you're right. Yes,
so,
it's not that you're never going to get another lesion, but they're not going to hang around and be non-healing. You're going to get rid of them. So, number 1, the diet. And as Robin just shared, she went off the diet big time. A few weeks ago, I went off slightly. I love watermelon, and I had watermelon for a couple of days. A few years ago, I did it for 7 days straight or longer, had watermelon every night, and it caught up with me, and it was like starting all over again. So I remembered that and kept my watermelon consumption at a limit, and I still had 1 or 2 lesions pop up. I knew what they were, no big deal, cut out the watermelon, and, the point is, when you really get your life back, you can eat anything you want. You just need to know to limit it, not go nuts with it, not go crazy with the candy.
Don't eat boxes of candy.
Don't go crazy with the peanut butter. Don't go crazy with the olive oil. Just limit it, okay? And you'll be fine. But so once that diet is kicked in, it's amazing. Symptoms kind of go, the itching, the biting, and you start sleeping during the night. So step 1 is make sure you get the diet to kick in. And we can have a whole program about that. And this is about non-healing lesions. So once the diet is kicked in, then the next step. Well, I remember my first lesion. And we have a policy that we do not accept returns. All right. I broke that policy one time and paid for it. A lady returned a box. She had spent over $250 for the parasite cleanse that we no longer handle, because I don't want to deal with this. It had wormwood in it. It had, and we caution people, don't buy it if you have columbella, and because wormwood and black walnut hull feed those organisms. And she figured out, and she sent it back. I disinfected that package with ammonia. I was very cautious about it, and sent them again. 24 hours later, I had a huge, humongous lesion in my hand here. And I know how bad and how fast these lesions can go. Now, the picture that came out today with the update and with this shows, lesions all over the body, little prick-type lesions, no bigger than maybe a 1/16 of an inch in diameter, maybe an 1/8 inch in diameter, and they're hideous. Who wants to go out in public looking like that? You want to camouflage yourself, and unfortunately, some people get them on their face, and it looks like they're diseased. Well, in a sense, we are. And people, you don't want to be looked at, and you're very self-conscious, and I understand this. And covering them on your face is kind of difficult. You can do the arms and the legs, but the face is kind of difficult. Except today with the mask, you can do a pretty good job wearing the COVID mask, but lesions are terrible. And this lesion in 24 hours was about 3/4 of an inch and deep. Scared the hell out of me. And filaments coming out of it, man. So fortunately, we have nature's gift, and I have it. So I began applying it, and I also had the Beauty Forever exfoliant cream. So I started applying both of them. And within 24 hours, the growth of that thing had stopped, and within 7 days, it had completely gone away, Zippo. Frequently applying. And so we have this in the store. It's called Deep Wound Kit. The Deep Wound Kit comes with a more concentrated version of the Nature's Gift, along with a 1/4 ounce of the Beauty Forever, and that will basically take care of any lesion. It's about $17.95. Many people buy it. Now, you don't have to buy our products because now there are other options. Once you're on the diet, there's probably a dozen things that can work and really make a big difference. So we're going to just discuss them briefly here. They were in the update that went out. Yes, Robin?
I wanted to share, before I found your book, I had a giant lesion. It went right across my stomach, and I went to a dermatologist, and, he accused me of scratching myself so much that I created this. It was like 7 inches long, 1 inch wide, and at least a 1/2 inch deep.
Wow.
And it was horrifying, and he was, you have to stop doing this to yourself. It was like, and then I found your book, and I started applying just regular Nature's. It was actually 50% Nature's Gift directly onto it, and within 3 days.
Wow, 3 days. That's incredible.
3 days with the diet and the Nature's Gift, it was gone. But, no help from doctors.
No. They just are not into it. They're not familiar with it. If you go to our one of our sites, www.debridingsoap.com, you'll see before and after pictures of our first coach, Sandra. When she joined the program, her whole backside of her elbow, from the shoulder all the way down to the elbow, was one bloody looking lesion. And you'll see the after picture there too. So any lesions, their history here. Once you're on this diet, another thing in the arsenal that a few people do use is our Nano Glutathione. Comes in a dropper form. Glutathione is a fantastic healer. You put a couple of drops of that on to a lesion. Or if you have multiple lesions and are spread out like it was in the photograph that came out with this update, you just massage it all over. That's another. So if you're already using the Nano Glutathione, great. If not, I wouldn't recommend going out and just buying it for this particular purpose. You can also do it with Garcillin. Now, we have a lot of people who use our Garcillin, and it comes in a capsule. So you take a little bit out of a capsule, put it on a little plate, add a few drops of Nature's Gift, stir it around with your fingertip, make it into kind of like a slurry, and then apply that onto the lesion. Bang, they're gone. Colloidal silver, that's a long-term. Many people have been using that for almost forever. We have colloidal silver in the store, or maybe you already have a supply of your own that you've gotten someplace else. You can apply the colloidal silver to the lesions, and they'll be clearing it. You see, the point is, once you're on the diet, you're no longer a walking, talking breeding machine. Otherwise, all this stuff is a waste of time, because you get rid of one lesion, and if you're not into the diet, they're just going to be popping up elsewhere and popping up elsewhere. So
now, in the book, you talk about how if you mess up on the diet, they can pop up for as long as a week afterwards till things quiet down.
It's called the, people like you and I, we can get to the point where we have no symptoms whatsoever, and we think that, well, we're cured. And then we go to a restaurant and have a marinated prime rib steak, and we can taste out, getting that taste so, and a week later, we break out. Right. That's called the delayed response. So you want to watch that when, particularly. So it's always good when you have something different to make a note of when you had it, and then watch for a few days to see if you react to it. So we talked about colloidal silver. Well, a lot of people love our mouthwash. I don't know. I think it's the best mouthwash on the planet, and it can be used on lesions. The key here is frequency. Don't expect that you're going to put on the colloidal silver once a day and get results, or the mouthwash, or any of these things. Don't expect you're going to do it once a day. No, it's a war. You go after these lesions like they are after your soul, and you are not about to give up your soul. So you do it every 15 or 20 minutes in the beginning, and then stretch it out to a couple, once an hour, every few hours. And then you get to a point where you're doing it maybe a couple or 3 times a day. Even at nighttime, you get up to go to the bathroom, you do it then too. So don't give them a chance. Don't give them a chance to replicate and get back. So that is important. Do you have anything? And you mentioned that you use the Nature's Gift direct onto it. Some people tell me they've used 100%, 50%, a drop of it right onto a lesion. It'll burn. It burns when you put it on,
but it's a good burn.
Yeah, it's worth the burn.
Right.
That's great. So that basically, and then for facial lesions. They're the ones, one more I just forgot, and that is the Kinase enzyme formula. And we talked about taking the Garcellin, taking the stuff out of the capsule. Well, you can also do it with the enzyme formula. And in the blog post that went out today, we did put up a blog post, 6 months ago or longer, about how to do that. And people use it as well. You can also use that in your mouth as well. Well, you can use all these things in your mouth on lesions. Robin shared that she had a lesion in her mouth. Well, you can use them there. They work. All this stuff works great as well with herpes breakouts. Super to do this stuff. Now, with people who have the lesions on their face, there's also a medical approach that can be used. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you this, but it is rifampicin. Is a medication that can also be used. You would have to get it from your doctor, of course, a prescription, and that is I believe it was reported to me. 300 milligrams daily for 10 days is generally what would work with rifampicin. So, what does it all mean? You no longer have to be hindered by unsightly, uncomfortable lesions. They can be cleared up in 7 to 10 days, pretty much all over your body, providing you are on making that diet work. Make that diet work. Keep your environment clean and disinfected, and you're the right place. Anything to add that before we close this segment?
No, I think that, well, you can also, I mean, there are over-the-counter antifungal creams which are also antibacterial and can help with lesions. I found them to be helpful at different times, and I had a couple of lesions that were like becoming necrotic, and I used Manuka honey.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else was working. But that's it works, but it's super slow. It took like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and it was also, it's honey. So
yeah, if you're looking for speed, I think most of the people who may be tuning in have already tried the over-the-counter stuff and haven't had very much success. That may simply be because they weren't on the diet and hadn't had the diet kick in. I don't know. I mean,
they may have done it once a day too. I mean, whatever you do, you have to do it multiple times.
So you want to listen to this segment. If you're dealing with these non-healing lesions, you want to listen to this segment. Number one, summarize the diet. Number two, several things that you can do, but frequency, go after it. Frequency is important, and you'll be free of them before you know it.